Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome all of you to another lecture organized by the Colorado Clinical Society. Today we are going to discuss about yet another very important topic, a disease which has challenged us over many decades. And today's program is funded by the National TB Control Program. So without delaying any further time, I'm delighted to call upon to the stage Dr. Dinesh Dasanayake, Consultant Respiratory Physician of DGH Colorado, to deliver his speech on challenges in combating tuberculosis. So,
thank you very much for that introduction. Let me first thank the Polonnaruwa Clinical Society and National TB Control Program and Chest Clinic Polonnaruwa for inviting me for this lecture and also organizing this lecture. Due to technical reasons, I will not be able to share the full screen, but I will go through slides as it is. So I'm going to talk to you on challenges in combating tuberculosis, why it has become a challenge. Okay. So before we go into challenges, let us first see some interesting cases we had and why these challenges in diagnosis and management arises. So case 1. This is a 56-year-old diabetic male with right pleuritic chest pain and loss of weight with slightly high inflammatory markers. By looking at the X-ray, what are the differential diagnoses you think? Some of you might be able to answer. What do you see in the chest X-ray? It appears as if it's a mass lesion with possible collapse of middle lobe and segmental collapse of right upper lobe. So what we did, the differential diagnosis, first differential diagnosis would be a malignancy actually. So we thought it could be a malignancy because of their ejaculate level, a lung abscess, and chronic infections like TB and fungal infections comes to differential diagnosis list. So we ordered the ultrasound scan because the lesion is touching the chest wall. It can be visualized through ultrasound. So the scan revealed a vascular lung mass, and the radiology department also thought it could be a mass. Because of high inflammatory markers, he was on IV antibiotics, and we anyway screened for TB and fungal infections. Sputum AFP was negative, MART was negative, and ultrasound guided FNAC was arranged because we thought it could be a malignancy first, which also didn't really reveal any malignant cells. But then his sputum for TB PCR, or the gene expert, which was done here in our lab by the microbiology team, was positive. So this one, which appeared to be a lung mass, was actually a case of TB, and this lesion disappeared after treating. So case 2, this is a 28-year-old male with history of FSGS, focal segmental glomerulosclerosis, and he has defaulted treatment. He was on prednisolone and azathioprine for a few months and then defaulted. Treated for recurrent UTI and with cultures were negative. Recently developed cough, loss of weight, and ongoing fevers, and he returned. Because of his urinary symptoms, he has undergone a CT KUB as well, which showed calcified left kidney and ureter with hydronephrosis, and there was irregular bladder wall with multiple strictures in left ureter. This was monogenous patient actually. And he did a cystoscopy which revealed a highly inflamed bladder with irregular bladder wall. They attempted stenting but failed. Then with the CT KUB, he underwent the HRCT as well. So HRCT revealed a cavitary lesion in left upper wall with tree in bud appearance. I'm not sure whether you can see in this small print. So you can see these are the tree in bud appearance. That means endobronchial spread of an infection. Tree in bud means you would see white color area with branching appearance, like a bud in a tree. So that's called tree in bud appearance, which is usually due to TB, but it can occur with any endobronchial spread of infection. This sputum smear was positive for FB, and the diagnosis was smear positive PTB with GUTB, which has complicated possibly from the pulmonary TB. So he was treated with ATT for 1 year actually. So because of his extended disease. And he underwent ultrasound-guided nephrostomy and was treated for 1 year. He also recovered. Then the third case was a 67-year-old female who came with cough, loss of appetite, loss of weight, and didn't have fever. And she has taken treatment from several places. And this was her chest X-ray on admission. What do you think? Again, there's an opacity on left side with possible cavitatory area here. By looking at it first, everyone thought it could be a malignancy. So we directed investigations to malignancy as well as for other opacifying lesions on the lung. So we screened for TB anyway because of the clinical history. Sputum AP was negative, gene expert was negative, MAR2 all were negative. And because of the suspicion of a malignancy, she underwent a bronchoscopy with no endobronchial lesions were found, and brushings and washings were negative for malignant cells. And fungal culture and Aspergillus serology were also negative, which was sent to MRI. She was started on IV antibiotics, but she didn't respond much. So she underwent a CT because every test was inconclusive. And you can see there was a heterogeneous dense lesion with a cavitation, which is suggestive of malignancy on CT. And it suggested image-guided biopsy. So because every other test was negative, we did an image-guided biopsy as well. There was lung tissue with inflammatory infiltration comprising neutrophils and lymphocytes, and tissue was rich in vasculature, but there was no malignant cells in this sample, and there were no granuloma. So what did we do? So all the tests have become negative, but she has a disease in his left lung with opacity and not responding. So because of the clinical features, we thought it could be TB as malignancy. We have basically excluded, but we have not fully excluded malignancy also in this case. Then the treatable ones are either TB or fungal, since fungal cultures were negative. TB was high in the list. So we started empirically anti-TB drugs on this patient. So this is what happened. After 2 months of ATT, the chest X-ray has cleared up and there's only remaining a scar. So she was clinically diagnosed as having TB with all the investigations negative. So these are the cases that goes as clinically diagnosed TB with all the investigations negative, but still you can have. Can the participants mute their phones and mics? Is disturbing. So this is what happens. So the chest X-ray has cleared up, and she also was treated for 6 months and fully recovered. So TB is the greatest mimicker of all disease. It can mimic malignancies, fungal infections, bacterial infections like milioidosis, and complicated staph infections, HIV, lymphoma, vasculitis, any disease you mentioned, it can mimic by tuberculosis. And AFP, PCR, culture, MAR2, everything can be negative, but still you can have tuberculosis. These are the group which goes as clinically diagnosed TB. And this is a treatable disease. Therefore, it's very important not to miss TB. Most cases are diagnosed late. And even in our setup, we see that average delay is about 60 days from first medical contact, not from first presentation. From first medical contact to diagnosis takes about 60 days. This appears both for TB as well as for malignancy. So even malignancies, we get stage 4 disease on diagnosis. So lung damage is done already when we see the patient. Therefore, we can only treat the disease, but there will be respiratory handicap even after treatment. So why combating tuberculosis has been a challenge for a long time. You can see even in ancient mummies, there had been features of tuberculosis, this ancient mummy, and they have described TB even in ancient Ola leaves and the papyrus leaves found in Egypt. So TB has been there for millions and millions of years, and it is a very intelligent bacillus which has adapted very well to human beings. So eradication is very difficult therefore. So this is one of the sculptures, bronze sculpture in Alexandria, which was found in 300 BC, which shows a case of Pott's disease actually. Now people think it's a disease of Pott's disease. There's gibbous of spine, and therefore, so this has been there for a long time without any treatment. So it was in 460 BC. Hippocrates also described tuberculosis. He didn't coin the term tuberculosis, but he defined this as phthisis. That means Shayvima in Sinhala, or loss of weight and loss of muscle mass. So it was thought to be the most common disease during that period. It was in 1882, Robert Koch, a German scientist, described the disturbance are there. Can you all mute your phones? Someone's mic is on. So in 1943, Robert Koch. So Robert Koch received the Nobel Prize for this. And then later in 1943 was the first anti-TB drug, streptomycin, was discovered by Waxman, and he also received a Nobel Prize in 1952. So it's also a long time back. Still, we have not been able to eradicate tuberculosis. And BCG was discovered in 1920, 100 years ago. It's the only available vaccine so far for tuberculosis. It also protects only for first 5 years of life, not after that. So there's a long way to go in combating tuberculosis. So this is what happens in Polonnaruwa. Basically, roughly in 2019, we had 163 cases maximum we had with the case detection rate. And then it has dropped in 2020 and 2021 due to corona epidemic. Patients didn't come. So the estimated number of cases is roughly 286, but we detect only 162. So rest of the patients are missing for some reason. So we have to find these cases and treat them early to prevent the spread. Coming to pediatric cases, in 2019 we detected a certain number of pediatric cases, but all throughout the national figures, TB cases in pediatric age group is low, but we think it's not due to the low case load, but because of we are missing cases in childhood. So that's why we see so many TB reactivations in the adulthood. And death rates is higher again in Polonnaruwa. In 2019, it was 8.5%, but the highest was 10.6. It has dropped to 5.2, but it is certainly higher than the national figure. And some of these could be due to other comorbidities. Actually, when we did the death reviews, we see that most of the deaths are due to MIs, strokes, and renal failures rather than the TB itself. But still, the death rate is higher compared to other districts in Polonnaruwa. So case finding has gone down in 2020 due to several reasons, including corona infection. The patients did come for treatment. And this slide shows the referral rates from various hospitals in Polonnaruwa districts. You can see it's less than 1% of the OPD attendants have been referred to chest clinics or microscopy centers for screening of TB. And ideally, at least 2% of OPD patients should be screened actively for TB, because the national data shows 40% of OPD attendees have respiratory symptoms. 40. Majority of OPD patients are coming from respiratory illness. So out of that, there are certainly a certain number of TB patients which have gone missing. And even admissions, if you take all the hospital admissions, 30 to 40% are due to respiratory illnesses. So if we screen those, we can certainly catch the TB cases early. So if you want to eradicate, we have to catch them early. So the challenges in combating tuberculosis, one is diagnosis, and we have several specific challenges due to the COVID pandemic as well. And there were very low self-referrals during the past 2 years. Actually, self-referrals are more effective than the referrals from other medical institutes. If the patients are aware, they will directly come and they will get the sputum checked and will be diagnosed. So self-referrals went down, so therefore case detection rate actually went down. And low healthcare referrals added to that. And problem with screening program. We couldn't do any screening programs during the 2 years because of the COVID pandemic and restrictions in the healthcare management and the new normal, the adaptations we had to take. And there was a question of safety of sputum examination. Sputum maybe is a aerosol generating procedure, and microscopy centers don't have biosafety labs. And so therefore, at some stage, there was a block of doing sputum examination. But GeneXpert and chest X-ray are safer. GeneXpert is done in biosafety lab, so it is considered safe compared to sputum AFB. And chest X-ray is, of course, much more safer. So those were the two screening tools we did during the COVID pandemic. And we actually found 6 cases of TB and COVID co-infections during this pandemic, and all of them recovered. Most of them were prisoners from other areas who were treated in Kandakadu quarantine camp. So they all recovered. So going back to challenges, the other challenge is the high death rate. So that is due to several reasons: late presentation as well as late referrals, and due to the complicated nature of the disease. Sometimes they are diagnosed late, especially in patients with CKD. The diagnosis get delayed due to complications itself. So sometimes you can't do biopsy. Sometimes they have pleural effusion recurrent. Everything is negative, but there's no way of diagnosing such patients. Late detection and late referrals are, as I said earlier, average delay is 60 days, both for TB and lung cancers. So most of the lung damage occurs during that period. And most of them have gone to several OPDs before coming to chest clinic. So that's why for OPD patients, always when patients come with cough for several weeks, ask them how many times they have been treated. So if they have been treated several times, don't waste time and money on giving again antibiotics and seeing them, like doing full blood count and ESR. Don't do. Straight away do a chest X-ray or refer them to chest clinic, especially if they have gone to several other places. So for the OPD, it may be the first presentation for you, but if they have gone to several other medical practitioners, don't waste time. And lung cancer also same. So we see almost all lung cancers, more than 70% of them had stage 4 disease when we diagnosed. And we have managed to send only 3 patients for surgery. We have seen only 3 cases of operable cancers. One was actually diagnosed accidentally. When he was getting prepared for a urological problem. In that CT, it showed a small lesion, and that was salvaged by surgery. So only 3 cases we have sent for surgery. All the others were inoperable to us. So if they have respiratory symptoms for more than 2 weeks, please do a chest X-ray. Underdiagnosis is a problem that's due to the TB disease itself, how they present, very difficult, vague symptoms, and lack of resources. Chest X-ray is available only in Polonnaru and Matrigiri hospitals and in private sector. So in Polonnaru, we have anti-transplant, again, disturbance from we can mute mics from here, no? All right. Okay. So all are muted. So TB among transplant patients is very challenging, difficult to diagnose. Everything can become negative. Maltose, sputum, gene experts, cultures, everything. Sometimes we go by imaging only and empirically treat them. And if you don't start treatment early, they will progress to disseminated disease and die. So transplant patients and kidney dialysis patients are very challenging to manage when they have TB. So strategies to improve case detections, what we have done is we have done several lectures, but then we always ask the medical officers to have a very low threshold for screening for TB. Irrespective of the duration of symptoms, if you suspect TB, screen them, especially diabetes, CKD patients, and if they come with cough, which is not responding, do a chest X-ray. Don't wait for blood test. Full blood count and ESR is not going to take you anywhere. So don't waste time on full blood count and ESR. Go for a chest X-ray and sputum examination. And therefore, for the same reason, in the new TB screening algorithm, they have included chest X-ray and gene expert as first-line screening tools. So chest X-ray we promote heavily, but gene expert we have bottleneck. But we are fortunate to have the microbiology team here, which offers 3 days a week, and we are fortunate to have 8 slots a day. Sometimes we have gone up to 24 slots a week, some weeks, and very helpful in doing gene experts. So gene experts we do quite often now, and they become quite often they become positive also in smear negative patients. So very effective test is a TB PCR. It is more sensitive than sputum examination, and it's the first line. TB PCR is the first line investigation of choice in children, and also if you suspect TB meningitis. Now, so for CSF studies, straight away we don't do AFBs, straight for gene expert, and also in kids for gastric aspirates and sputum examination, better to do gene expert. So chest X-ray has a very high sensitivity, therefore it can detect not only TB, other diseases also. So chronic respiratory symptoms, do chest X-ray. And chest X-ray should actually be ordered from OPD. So OPD doctors can order chest X-ray when they're sending for us. You don't have to send them for a clinic to order chest X-ray. Do the chest X-ray from OPD itself. So this is the algorithm, which may not be clear, but as you can see in the first step itself, the chest X-ray and gene expert is used for TB screening now. Is the new algorithm. Earlier we used to do AFBs if negative, the other thing, but AFB and chest X-ray together is the new tool for screening. So have a very low threshold for chest X-ray, make use of microscope centers are everywhere, but no one is using, but this is the health-seeking behavior of the people as well. Most of the microscope centers are bypassed by patients themselves, but that's okay. But if you have a chance to get it done from microscopy centers, which is free of charge. Early referrals, we expect early referrals from OPDs. Don't wait for 2 weeks. So if the patient has traveled from many places and coming to OPD, don't wait for another 2 weeks. Straight away refer to chest clinic. And actively inquire for respiratory symptoms, especially in high-risk groups, especially diabetes and CKD patients. Actively inquire. They will come with some vague symptoms, joint pains and body aches and things like that, but ask for respiratory symptoms. And most of them will not notice cough as a symptom. They think, most of the patients will think cough is a normal thing, but cough is a symptom. So ask actively, and if they have cough for 2 weeks, do a chest X-ray. Currently, we have discussed the endocrinology team, of course. All new diabetics from endocrine clinics are screened. So especially at the beginning of the disease, when they are newly diagnosed, do a chest X-ray. And also, if a diabetic patient has uncontrolled sugar, hypoglycemia, and they will not have symptoms, still do a chest X-ray and see. It could be a chest infection, especially TB patients. TB will present with hypoglycemia in diabetes, and this is how we have detected in chest clinic. So these are the risk categories. Diabetes is the first risk category. We can see 12.2% of our patients are diabetes. Then 7% are CKD patients. And then comes the cancer patients, immunosuppressives, healthcare workers, HIV/AIDS, prisoners, drug addicts, elderly home patients. So if you see these patients coming for other treatments or other illnesses, vague symptoms, inquiry regarding respiratory symptoms, and screen for TB then and there, especially the newly diagnosed diabetics and newly diagnosed CKD patients, we ask them to screen for TB. So in the future, we will be having a new guideline for latent TB infections. Latent TB means the patient will have the bacillus inside the body, but they will not have the active TB disease, tuberculosis disease, but they will be harboring the bacillus. So if you want to eradicate them, we will have to treat the latent TB patients in the future. At the moment, we don't treat them. At the moment, we treat only the contacts of smear positive patients, the kids. Those who are below 5 years, we give latent TB prophylaxis, and also for patients who are undergoing MAP therapy, infliximab. But this will be expanded to other categories as well. To screen latent TB in the future, we will be offering interferon gamma release assay. At the moment, it's not available, but in the future, it will be available through chest clinics. This will be offered to HIV patients, transplant recipients, those who are going to receive the organ. We will be doing IGRA in addition to MANTO, or sometimes IGRA alone. Then we will be having patients who will need TNF alpha blockers like dermatological infliximab for GI conditions. Those patients will need undergo MANTO as well as IGRA. Then dialysis patients, prisoners, healthcare workers, silicosis, those patients will be getting in for latent TB infection. Now, to tell latent TB, you have to first exclude active TB. So those patients who are referred for MANTO will be arranging chest X-ray and sputum again. So if you want a MANTO test done, if the patient has respiratory symptoms, do a chest X-ray as well and then send to us. So then it's easy for us. We can straight away go for MANTO, but otherwise we'll have to again do a chest X-ray, sputum examination, because we need to exclude TB, active TB, before concluding whether it's a latent TB or not. So all the patients who are due for infliximab, we do this test, and then we'll be deciding on what to do. So the WHO has given NTB targets, very difficult targets to eradicate TB by 2035. But one of our politicians went and discussed and brought this down to 2025, which is even impossible. Okay, so still we have more than 1,000 cases every year. More than 10,000 cases a year, and roughly around 700 deaths a year. So if you want to eradicate, you have to bring these deaths to 32 per year, and you have to bring down the incidence from 65 to 9.5, which I don't think is possible with these current problems. So, but the targets are there. So the take-home messages are, in combating tuberculosis, the challenges, you have to have a very low threshold for TB screening, especially chest X-ray. Don't worry about the exposure levels and radiation, things like that. So if you walk down the road and you stay outdoors for 7 days, you get the same radiation dose. So don't worry about radiation dose. If the patient has chronic respiratory symptoms, do a chest X-ray. Don't waste patients' money on full blood count and ESR if the symptom is respiratory. Have a very low threshold. And actively inquire about respiratory symptoms and TB in patients with risk factors like diabetes, CKD, HIV, drug abusers, elderly, cancer patients, and recurrent respiratory tract infections. Always think of TB. Recurrent UTI also, think of TB, especially in Polonnaruwa. We have seen several GU-TB cases. And even on cystoscopy, Manoj has found like distracted bladder, and we have started ATT. And all the abnormal presentations of TB we have seen in Polonnaruwa, including granulomatous mastitis, TB meningitis, TB thyroid, apart from hair and nail, all the other things we have seen. We have recently seen a case of patients who had recurrent psoas abscesses, then had joint TB after 1 year of treatment, and then we thought it's cured now. Then he had orchiditis and has testicular TB now. So all the rare presentations we have seen in Polonnaruwa, it's like a TB museum. So think of TB if the patient has chronic symptoms, especially unexplained weight loss, unexplained cough, and if a patient is diabetic, especially screen for TB. So always keep TB in mind and refer early and also screen for TB early. Thank you. And any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, sir, for that very valuable and informative lecture. And now I would like to call upon the stage Dr. Amita Nedumenia, consultant dermatologist of DGH Polonnaruwa, to present the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Dinesh, sir. Let's give them a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. So today, I hope we all are taking home valuable messages in order to face these challenges and play our role in eradicating TB. So hope to see you soon again with another lecture. The lunch has been served. Thank you for being here and making this event a success. Have a nice day. Please collect your lunch on your way back. Thank you. A kind reminder to all of you, the mini symposium organized by the Polonnaruwa Chemical Society, we are planning to hold it on 1st of December. So hope you all can join us on that day as well. Thank you.
Take a beat. Stop sharing. Save it. Okay, save it. Pretty hard the acceleration like the full screen is share run like the stop sharing. No,